what are small business law, small business accounting decisions that need to be made when you start a business? In the last segment, we talked about just money matters, not necessarily legal matters for your business. When we talk about legal matters, it is very important to combine the legal needs for your business with accounting decisions that need to be made. They work together, so that's why we like to consider them. Accounting can be done on its own separately. We feel that legal and accounting, when you add legal to the formula, they become a combined area where you need information. And I'm going to talk about real quickly some small business keywords in legal, and then there are some accounting decisions that need to be made along the way, and we'll reference those. Confidentiality. When you start a business, it's most important that when you talk about that business with somebody, there is a confidentiality understanding. You don't want to share your business idea so that somebody else can take that idea and do it themselves. So you really have to understand with whom it is that you are speaking. If they're a friend or a relative, probably you don't need to be that worried about the confidentiality. You have to expose it. You have to talk about it. But you don't have to worry as much, I don't think, with friends and family. Depends on who your friends and family are, I guess. The way that you protect yourself is to, keyword number 2, demand that with whomever you talk that business idea with, they sign a non-disclosure agreement with you. It can be a very simple agreement, and you can even Google non-disclosure, and you can get for free, I am sure, a non-disclosure agreement somewhere on the internet. That's not necessarily a bad idea at the beginning, but when you create a non-disclosure, I recommend that you speak with an attorney about that. An attorney will have the form. Why do I say that? Because if you ever have to challenge that non-disclosure agreement, you're going to have to go to an attorney so that they can challenge it for you. So why not start that process on the front end? Spend whatever you need to spend to get the legal perspective of that non-disclosure. But it's very important that you have that agreement and you make people sign that agreement before you talk about your business. That might even be a vendor, a service provider to your business, someone who sells you a service. As you are talking to them about that service that you're going to buy from them, you make them sign a non-disclosure so they can't take that idea and not necessarily do it themselves, but they might give it to somebody who will. So it's also important that people who provide service to you sign a non-disclosure agreement. Sole proprietor. For most of my business life, I was the legal designation of a sole proprietor. That protected me to a certain extent, but it didn't necessarily give me ultimate protection. A sole proprietor is a legal designation, but it's also an accounting designation, and the IRS recognizes the words sole proprietor. As a matter of fact, I recommend that you go to not only SBA.gov, but you go to IRS.gov and search the words sole proprietor. So you see from a legal perspective, from an accounting perspective, which are your responsibilities as a small business owner. You know exactly what the law expects of you. So I was a sole proprietor for most of my life. As a matter of fact, in early 2000s, I don't know if it was 2001, 2002, 2003, maybe a little bit later, I actually had groups, network groups that I put together. Cincinnati sole proprietors, Dayton, Ohio sole proprietors, Columbus sole proprietors. Those are all small business owners like myself, typically one-person operations. That's why it's a sole proprietor. And we sat down once a month. I facilitated the meeting, and we had lunch, and we talked about business topics, business ideas that were important to all of us, and we just shared our experiences and our ideas about those topics. We were all sole proprietors. I will recommend a book. I've actually interviewed the author of that book several years ago, right after she came out with it, a woman by the name of, what was it? Was it Jane Pollock? No, it wasn't. I'll have to find the book. But she used the words sole proprietor, S-O-U-L, proprietor, not S-O-L-E, proprietor. And it was a great book talking about the soul of the entrepreneur and how important your soul is into that business. I'll look that book up and I'll share that with you. Corporation, you might be advised by your attorney, by your accountant, to set up a corporation. And there's all different kinds of corporations that can be set up. A corporation is a legal entity that protects you. The corporation is liable. There are certain protections for the individuals who make up that corporation. And there are different kinds of corporation. The most popular kind, and it's relatively new, is the Limited Liability Corporation, or LLC. In the last 5 years, I have established at least 5 LLCs. As soon as it became a legal entity, and I read about it, and I said, that's what I need. I went to my attorney, one of my attorneys, and I have one attorney, that's all he does for me. He does some other things, we talk a lot, but Robert sets up LLCs for me. And it's not a tool, it's not an instrument just for small businesses. Many large businesses, big businesses, will set up LLCs, limited liability corporations, for the advantages of setting one up. So you definitely need to explore a limited liability corporation. Break-even. We didn't talk about break-even in the last segment about Money Matters. Break-even point, very basically speaking, is what are your total expenses to run your business, just for the running of your business. And interesting. I was just looking at the front page of Stickham, and they have 0 live viewers, 0 session viewers, but that's not true. Folks listening to me right now are live, and we've had quite a few session viewers. So anyways, it doesn't matter. Your break-even point is your total amount of expenses. Now, you need to generate that much cash flow, that much revenue, just to break even. But you can't stay in business just breaking even. What did I say in the last segment? You had to generate a profit. So your profit comes at that point of break even, where you've covered all the expenses of your business, and the next dollar that you generate then becomes profit to you. It's important, it's critical that you understand what the break-even point is of your business. I talked about balance sheets last segment. I talked about income statements. last segment, Employee Identification Number, EIN. It's recommended that you create an EIN number for yourself, an Employee Identification Number. It's something that you share with the Internal Revenue Service, you share with other businesses who ask for your EIN number. Quite honestly, I spent most of my life, business life, not having an EIN number. I simply operated with my Social Security number. As I look back, probably a mistake. I should have. It's legal. It's something that the IRS certainly recognizes, and that's how I have identified my business ventures with the IRS, by giving them my personal Social Security number. It would have made much more sense if I had an EIN number. It's very simple. If you, once again, Google Employee Identification Number, you can fill out a form. It'll probably take you 5 minutes to fill that form out. You submit it, and that becomes your EIN number. Social Security number, you just heard me say that I didn't have an EIN number. I used my Social Security number. It's probably much safer today to have an EIN number than it is to use your Social Security number. Intellectual property, another key small business keyword. Whatever it is that you do in your business, that is your intellectual property. It belongs to you. You want to protect that intellectual property, and there are ways to legally protect your intellectual property, different ways to do it. That's when you need to consult with a small business attorney to find out what protections you need to protect your intellectual property. And it's going to vary. There's not a standard answer how to protect your intellectual property, but that's what your business is all about. That is yours. It's your intellectual property. Final small business keyword is compliance. Compliance is definitely a legal term. Your business must be compliant with the laws of the state where you operate, the laws of the country in terms of the IRS. It's not difficult to find out what those compliance laws are. Once again, if you Google compliance at either the IRS.gov website or the SBA.gov website, you will find all the information that you need to understand if your business is compliant. That raises the issue, begs the question, what is compliance on the internet? Is there such a thing as compliance on the internet? That's a highly debatable question, and you should get as much information as you possibly can and make the best decision for yourself if you are compliant. One of the biggest areas of compliance that is being attacked right now is businesses who had an online business typically have not been paying any kind of sales tax for whatever it is that they sell online. And the offline retailers have been livid about that. They say, well, people have to pay, we have to pay a sales tax, like our customers have to pay the sales tax when they're buying items in our store. Why shouldn't people pay a sales tax when they're buying it online? That discussion continues every single day, and there are some laws being passed right now about online sales tax. And the company that has been used and attacked the most is the largest online retailer, and that is Amazon. And I think even reference is made to the Amazon tax. So you need to understand compliance, but compliance is going to be different. There's not a standard rule of compliance. It's going to be different from industry to industry. And there's enough available information that you can start to read and learn about it, but I highly recommend that you talk with an accountant, be they a public accountant, be they a certified public accountant, or you talk with a small business attorney. Preferably talk with both so that you understand if your small business is compliant.